Hello and welcome again to this edition of FLITV. We are coming to you not from Florida Internet and Television's headquarters, but across the street from Florida's capital. We're here at Andrew's Restaurant, downtown Tallahassee. It's the first day of session. We're about to kick it off. We are joined by Peter Schorsch, publisher, editor, founder of FloridaPolitics.com. Peter, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Happy Mardi Gras.
Yes, it is Mardi Gras. The party is not here, though.
Let the good times roll. They are, right now, as we're speaking, Governor DeSantis about to give his State of the State address. And so that's the ceremonial kickoff to 60 days of surprises.
Right, surprises is the name of the game. Now, you're going to have both chambers in a lot of pomp and circumstance today. What will Florida Politics be writing about or looking for today?
Well, we're looking at Bill Galvano's transportation package. That's one of the first things that's on the road to passage, to use that pun. He wants to expand the infrastructure throughout the state. We're still waiting to see what Jose Oliva's priorities are in the House. He's got some health care issues, got some education issues. It's a little slow going. I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised at how few plays are already called. Like in a football game, the offense knows what the first 20 plays are.
Right.
I don't think we know that with this legislative session.
Well, but if you had to guess, what do you think Speaker Oliva is going to bring to the table?
Well, I think he's got a clear-cut mandate from the governor to do something on marijuana. Governor DeSantis said, hey, get me legislation that allows for smokable marijuana by March 15th. So that the clock is ticking on that. They got a week and a half to get that done. That's one of the main things. There's a bunch of issues, a bunch of healthcare bills that Speaker Oliva has been putting into play on telemedicine. It's interesting. This is the first time that the doctor of the day, a ceremonial position, is it's using an app that is allowing the doctor to still stay in West Palm and do telemedicine. And so that's kind of a symbol of where Oliva wants to take this session. A lot of healthcare reform, bringing transparency into the healthcare system, et cetera.
Yeah, well, our members are all over that, obviously, because in your home and a connected device, right, that is what brings telemedicine to you.
We love those apps.
Right, we do. All right, well, so telemedicine is going to be big. We know Senator Brandis always brings forward technology and things like that, AV. We've got Representative Fisher and Senator Brandis running autonomous vehicle legislation. I mean, what do you think this session is going to be about?
I think one of the undercurrents of this session is technology meeting politics for the first time. We've seen it in Washington, D.C., and now it's starting to filter into the state capitals. You're seeing legislation on drones. There was a police drone bill passed yesterday. You're seeing autonomous vehicle legislation allowing for the testing of that in Florida. There's the communications tax, which is obviously a big issue to our listeners today. But you're seeing there's a great battle, a great food fight over micromobility, aka scooters, how they should be regulated.
Right.
And so we've got all these technological issues. It's kind of funny because not all these guys and ladies up here are familiar with some of the cutting edge technologies that they're going to have to weigh in on. It was kind of like the debate over ride sharing with Uber and Lyft. It took them a couple of years to get the legislation right. Now that's happened, and Uber is everywhere. We need that to happen in a lot of other areas, whether it be scooters, whether it be streaming services, et cetera.
Yeah. Florida is just where every other state is catching up their laws with the technology. I mean, when you see St. Pete, Miami, I mean, you're seeing these toys and these tools on the ground, but yet the law hasn't quite caught up to them.
Well, you bring up cities, which is that's going to be a big theme this session. It's about the issue of preemption. And what that means is the legislature passes a law telling cities that they can't pass laws regulating at the local level. And this goes from, again, scooters to plastic straws, to Uber and Lyft, to even education issues when it comes to the school board. You're going to hear that word again and again over the next 60 days, preemption. And what's interesting is Republicans are always the one who say government at the local level is the best. Some of the organized groups like the League of Cities or the Florida Association of Counties, they're kind of crying foul, saying, wait a second, you guys believe in local control, but you're not letting our city councils and county commissions pass the laws they want to pass.
Right. Well, I would be remiss in my role as president of the Florida Internet and Television Association in saying that some technologies need a broader path to deploy technology as opposed to like a different set of rules in 400 plus jurisdictions.
It's a great point. You bring, go back to Uber, which is solved now, but you couldn't have somebody pick up an Uber in Fort Lauderdale and drive to Miami and go from one set of laws to another. So in a lot of these cases, you do need to have a statewide framework as opposed to a municipal framework.
Well, so we're going to be looking at that. Florida Politics will be there every day with
Yes.
Sunburn first thing in the morning.
We're now the #1 source for state lawmakers where they say they get their news.
Well, that's the first thing I read every morning. Of course, Peter, right? So, all right, so let's...
Remind that to Matt Dixon when he comes on later today, please.
You know I will.
Let him know that he's #2.
You know I will. I will. I might
trophy for the
I
alternates
might
is in
never
the,
call
lead.
another, online media outlet #2, but that's okay. That's another
Got it.
story. Okay, so let's talk about your new podcast. What's it all about?
Well, you know my wife, Michelle Todd Schorsch. She was in the process for years. She's smarter than me. She's more exciting than me. People like to talk more to her than me. And so when I wanted to
We all do.
When I wanted to launch my podcast, I was looking for somebody who I could go back and forth with, and I thought, who better than Michelle? Like every Saturday night is our date night. We're having a cocktail, she's having champagne, and we're talking about Florida politics, or we're talking about Fire Festival, or we're talking about the new Michael Jackson documentary on HBO, which is important.
Right. Found on your local cable provider.
Only on your local cable provider. And so it's a mix of politics and pop culture, but with some really great guests. I will tell you, we had the second episode is up right now. It's us talking with Lauren Book about the R. Kelly scandal, and then it's us talking with Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith about hate crimes and Jussie Smollett, which is he's a star on Empire,
Sure.
which is only found on your local TV station.
I know if you're launching it, you've already worked the bugs out. The fact that Michelle is on it, we love her. She's an amazing
star,
friend of
yes.
Florida Internet and Television and FI TV. So we can't wait to have her on to replace you. It'll be amazing.
That's what happens. The News Channel 8 guy totally subbed me out. Like Michelle came with me one time to guest, and he's like, what do you do? And she's like, well, I was in public. He's like, well, why aren't you on TV?
Right.
And so I was sitting there in the back, and I got quickly subbed out for Michelle.
Well, it's good that
Thank goodness she's not here now.
you've traded out your stardom for the true star in the Schorsch
Thank you.
household. So for now, Peter, thanks for joining us on FI TV today. We will for sure have a lot more things to talk about throughout session, and we look forward to having you on.
Thanks, man. I
All right,
appreciate
thanks.
it.
That's all the time we have for today's FI TV episode. Please hit us up on Facebook and on our Twitter account. And for now, thanks for tuning in.